What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Paddy Pimblett receives a warning for Justin Gaethje fight. The early betting lines for UFC 324 have Paddy Pimblett as the favorite to hoist the championship belt when the headliner concludes. But one of the game's most respected coaches has warned that Pimblett could be in for a rough night. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. Recently, it was announced that Pimblett will battle Justin Gaethje for an interim lightweight title at the January 24th event, going down at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. While the decision to book the fight for an interim belt has drawn mixed reviews, the consensus seems to be that Pimblett will be victorious. But recently, retired fighter turned coach and analyst Dean Thomas spoke with MMA Junkie. While doing so, Thomas outlined why he thinks Gaethje will add a second interim title to his resume at UFC 324. I'm leaning toward Gaethje for sure, absolutely. Gaethje is still a banger. Paddy's crafty. Paddy's really crafty and has shown that he can withstand certain things and he can hang around with certain guys. But I just think when Justin Gaethje gets rolling downhill and the amount of violence he's able to put on people, you can try to be as crafty as you possibly can with Gaethje, but eventually he's going to catch up to you and you've got to stand up and fight him. Max Holloway was able to do that. When he sat down on his punches, we saw what happened. Thomas furthered, I'm not sure Paddy Pimblett has the ability to do that, and I'm pretty sure Paddy Pimblett cannot take Gaethje down. I'm leaning toward Gaethje, in fact pretty heavily actually. It's going to face Paddy to make some mistakes, and I'm not sure he's going to be able to take the amount of punishment that Justin Gaethje's able to dish out. While the 37-year-old Gaethje's best days are likely behind him, and he's lost 2 of his last 5, we're talking about one of the most dangerous and feared strikers in lightweight, a guy who inside of the last 2 years has bested Rafael Fiziev twice and bombed out Dustin Poirier. That said, Thomas does believe that compared to Ilia Topuria or Arman Tsarukyan, Gaethje is Paddy's best chance to win a title. If he's going to fight anybody, it's going to have to be the older guy in Justin Gaethje. Arman Tsarukyan is a young stallion who is trending upward. Same with Ilia Topuria. Justin Gaethje is at the twilight, trying to solidify his legacy. He's Paddy's best chance at winning a title. It'll be fascinating to see if Gaethje can smash Pimblett's championship hopes. Who are you picking to win the fight? And while we're on the topic of Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje, Arman Tsarukyan offers help to Justin Gaethje. In a recent interview with ESPN, Arman went off on Paddy Pimblett and said that if they were to fight, he wouldn't even submit him. Instead, he would just elbow him in the face all day. Arman also offered Justin help if he needed it. Here's what he had to say. It's a business to build Paddy and make him easy fights, but I hope Justin is going to beat and we're gonna forget about Paddy. They give him easier fights because they know he's gonna lose to Ilia, and real fighters like me just watch and wait our time. I would just maul his face on the ground just with my elbows. With Paddy, I'm never going to go for the choke. Just elbow him all day, all night, make his face like bleeding. Justin, if you need my help, let me know. I will fly to you and help you. I mean, I want him to win. You know that guy, I hate him. Arman also reposted this on Instagram with a picture of him and Dana White on a poster for a fight versus each other. Tom Aspinall reveals sad news on health following eye pokes. After the whole Aspinall situation, it looks like he has officially released his medical reports. Aspinall posted on Instagram calling out gone and alongside provided medical reports from the doctor. According to those reports, which was taken from various CT and MRI scans, Aspinall suffered a significant bilateral ocular trauma to his eye. But that wasn't the only thing. He suffered orbital soft tissue trauma, disruptions of the superior oblique tendon trochlear mechanism, persistent diplopia, double vision, and minimally displaced fracture of the right medial orbital wall. Hopefully Aspinall recovers soon and we can see him and Gon back in the octagon. Aspinall didn't provide a timeline for his return, but we're sure he's going to let the community know ASAP. Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira leaked for UFC 324? In recent weeks, there's been plenty of hype regarding the possibility of a rematch between Charles Oliveira and the BMF king Max Holloway. Well, following a recent social media post from the UFC Brazil channel, buzz about the fight is spiking even more. After Oliveira submitted Mateus Gamrot in October, the former lightweight champ called for a BMF title fight with Holloway. The legend and former featherweight champ has said he's down, but to date, there's been no official announcement. Or has there? Well, recently, the UFC Brazil X account posted that Oliveira and Holloway are going to fight in January at UFC 324. Although the post was quickly taken down, understandably, many were wondering if Holloway versus Oliveira was going to be part of the January 24th event. After all, this is the first major event broadcast on Paramount, and for weeks Dana White said it's going to be a stacked event. But since the post turned heads, Marcel Dorff reported via social media that From what I was told, this is the fight that was targeted as the headliner for UFC 324. The UFC went a different route with Gaethje Pimblett. UFC Brazil most likely forgot to delete a scheduled tweet. It's also worth noting that just recently, Holloway acknowledged he could be booked to fight at the UFC's White House card next summer. We'll see what happens with the Conor thing. With Jon Jones coming back, I think the card idea is cool, but there's no American champion. The only American champion there is the BMF title, so you're looking at the man. So am I going to be at the card? I like my odds of being on it. The Hawaiian Star, however, also said this: but I don't know too much of really wanting to be on it, because I heard that's only going to have like 5,000 people on the lawn, and then across the street they're going to have like 80,000 people at screens watching and stuff, which is cool. But the 5,000 people, I don't know if my family would be able to have seats there. So at the end of the day, it kind of sucks not having family members there, especially when I work my way up so high in the UFC. I'm so used to having them really close, ringside and stuff, and them just being there. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that Holloway won't be fighting again until June, as just a few weeks ago, he also reported he's looking to fight sooner than that. The White House card is just so far away. It's like a year, boys. I don't know if I want to wait that long, but we'll see what happens. Never say never. It's so far away, if we take that fight, it's almost going to be a year I'm out of competition, if the fight happens on the White House card. So it'll be fascinating to see if Holloway vs. Oliveira 2 is booked and for when. The two squared off for the first time way back in 2015, and the fight was quickly stopped due to some sort of throat injury Oliveira incurred. Michael Chandler pitches idea for Conor McGregor fight at the White House. Conor McGregor has been driving hard to secure a spot on the UFC's White House card, and Michael Chandler wants to be the man to welcome the former champ back to the octagon. Ever since it was announced that the UFC is planning to hold a card at the White House next year, McGregor has actively campaigned to be part of the event. So much so, McGregor has reported he's back in training, even though the UFC has yet to confirm he'll be part of the card. Well, given the history between McGregor and Chandler, whereby they were finally booked to fight in 2024, only to have that fight fall through due to Conor breaking his toe, it's not surprising that Chandler is pitching that they fight at the White House event. While speaking with MMA Fighting recently, not only did the former Bellator champ call for a bout with McGregor, he also made it clear he wants to dominate the polarizing star. We would definitely have to go out there, dot our I's, cross our T's, and go out there and not just beat Conor, but dominate him, and just systematically and surgically break the man down, to be able to get draped in the stars and bars and get my hand raised right there on the White House lawn. I've dreamt about it. I've visualized it ever since this announcement was made that we were doing this fight on the White House lawn, and I believe it's going to come to fruition. The 39-year-old Chandler also proposed that the promotion create a White House belt for the event. There's almost nothing that is impossible. First of all, this sounded impossible just 6 months ago, doing a fight at the White House. Now you get it set, and the amount of things that are on the table, nothing is off the table. No belt on the line, but maybe they'll come out with the White House belt, something cool for this momentous occasion that we can throw on our shelves in our offices. That would absolutely be a blast. But even if that did not happen, the opportunity to fight in front of our president again, to fight at the White House, would be an absolute dream come true. It'll be interesting to see if this White House belt thing gains any steam, and if the UFC does indeed look at having McGregor at the event, given that it's been over 4 years now since he last fought. Further, is there another realistic fight for McGregor that would generate more interest at this point, or could this be the perfect swan song matchup for both men? As we're on the topic of Michael Chandler, he actually was competing yesterday. If you watch the channel, you would know that Michael Chandler was set to face Chad Mendes at 175 pounds in Real American Freestyle. Chandler ended up winning 4-2. Huge congrats to Muscle Mike. We'll see you in the octagon soon. Chandler wasn't the only notable UFC fighter competing on the card. Unfortunately, Buckley wasn't as lucky as Chandler as to getting a win. Buckley ended up getting a 12-0 tech call. For those of you that don't know, that basically means that Buckley was losing 12-0 and the officials ended the match. During the end of the fight, Pat Downey ended up slamming Buckley to the ground. Henry Cejudo reacted to the event, writing, "Real American Freestyle Wrestling was crazy tonight. Downey dominated Joaquin Buckley. Michael Chandler beat Chad Mendes, and Spencer Lee got pinned by Andrei Yatsenko. Bo Bassett and Ahmed Tazudinov won via pin too. Great event." During the show, it was revealed that Bo Nickal will defend his light heavyweight belt against Yoel Romero in December. This is going to be a huge match. Can't wait. Alex Pereira knocks out sparring partner. As this video is being produced, Alex Pereira isn't booked for his next fight, but as a new video clip that's gone viral shows, Pereira's still putting his feared left hook to work. Ever since Pereira reclaimed the UFC's light heavyweight crown in October by quickly taking out Magomed Ankalaev, there's been plenty of headlines about who he'll face next. Many believe it could be the surging contender Carlos Ulber, while Pereira has called for a super fight with Jon Jones. But due to the following clip that recently surfaced, Pereira's fearsome power is once again the subject of conversation.
Look, as soon as the right hand comes, bah! Yeah, bah, 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 again, bah, bah,
Come on! Why are y'all surprised? Now, if you're wondering, it's not entirely clear who Pereira was sparring and why he ultimately dusted the guy. There's been some reporting that his name was Neil and that he challenged Pereira to a hard spar at a gym in Florida. But chances are, more details of what went down and why will emerge in the coming days. Amanda Nunes' coach reacts to not headlining UFC 324. When it was announced that Amanda Nunes and Kayla Harrison are going to battle at UFC 324, many fans were likely thrilled to hear the news, but more than a few eyebrows were raised when it was confirmed that the fight would not main event the January 24th card. Why's that? Well, if you're a longtime combat sports fan, you know that generally, interim title fights are not placed above undisputed championship fights on the card. But UFC 324 will feature Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett squaring off for the interim lightweight title, while the bantamweight championship fight between Harrison and Nunes will serve as the co-headliner. It's also worth noting, as many others have, that the fight will mark the first time that the legendary Nunes has fought since 2023, which is when she retired. In other words, the fight is a pretty big deal for women's MMA. Since the card was announced, Nunes' coach, Dean Thomas, spoke with MMA Junkie, but unlike some other fans, fighters, and pundits, Thomas isn't too concerned about the UFC's decision to have Harrison versus Nunes as the co-main event. To me, it's 1A, 1B, and I wouldn't have been surprised either way. In fact, the only thing that does surprise me is it was an interim belt that they were putting as a main event as opposed to this one. That's a little surprising, but Amanda's been gone a while, so I get it. I understand why, but either way, it's still two great main event and co-main event, two title fights. It's still great. I'm not concerned with Amanda fighting second to last. To me, I think it's still awesome. It's still amazing. Now, some might also point to the fact that Thomas is an on-air analyst for the UFC, and therefore, it would be kind of shocking if he publicly blasted the promotion for this decision. That would be a fair argument. But at the end of the day, a good portion of fans watching probably won't be able to tell you what the weight limit is for bantamweight, much less get riled up about how the main card was structured. And how does Thomas see the fight playing out? While discussing whether Harrison needs to take the fight down in order to secure a win, the coach stated, "I don't even really think she has an advantage on the ground. If there is an advantage, her best opportunity to win would be on the ground. I think the gap on the feet is huge compared to the gap on the ground, if there's a gap on the ground." Do you agree with Thomas? And who do you see winning the fight? Ilia Topuria receives major backlash. After Ilia announced that he was stepping away for personal issues, a lot has been happening since, which is getting him a lot of backlash. Recently, Topuria's brother posted a video of them celebrating, and you can see Topuria dancing and having a good time. Then this morning, he tweeted at Paddy telling him to win his next fight, and also showed a video of a young kid that looks like Paddy. He tweeted saying, "Paddy, win your next fight. Hands up, chin down. And Arman This dance is for you." MMA fans were not happy with Ilia, as he should once again be out for personal reasons. This is what the MMA community had to say. He's clearly taking the divorce badly. Looks like the only thing he's going through is way to avoid Arman. Fam knows how to torch having real fans every chance he gets. You just sat out. Worry about that while the men fight. Paddy is living rent-free in your mind while you're scared to fight Arman Tsarukyan, busy trash talking you on the internet LMAO. Bro, you don't get to make memes. Get back in the gym and ready for Q2 2026. I swear, bro said he is having personal problems and wants to focus on his children. El Pato. We're getting an interim belt because this guy was heartbroken by his wife. Talk about setting the bar low for champs. You sound like you're really going through it, bro. I'm praying for you. Weren't you just going through difficult times, LOL? What are you doing here? Enjoy Dana privilege while you can, LOL. What are your thoughts on the Ilia Topuria backlash? Let us know in the comments below.